Welcome back. It's a tasty addition to many meals. Charlie and Sharon talk all things basil in this week's In the Garden.
You know, the two things that smell the best in your garden in the summer is basil and tomatoes. And this is basil.
And you got some basil.
I do. I do.
Yeah. Basil is a favorite for lots of people.
Yeah.
And when you grow the Genovese basil, which is the one you're sniffing there, which is the big leafed one, that's the one a lot of people use for preserving and cooking and all different things. So we have patches of it around the garden for different uses.
Yeah.
So the one here we're standing in front of is obviously the one for making things like pesto and freezing the leaves. You can preserve them a lot of different ways. Some people will dry them and crunch them up. My cousin actually dries them, crunches them up, and puts them in salt, and has a basil salt that she uses in the winter, which is kind of cool. Other people put them in oil. We like to freeze the leaves, or we make pesto out of them. Those are the two main uses for them, to preserve them for winter.
Now, what do you do with them after you freeze them? Because they're kind of limp after that, aren't they?
Well, when they're frozen, they're pretty crunchy.
Yeah.
And then what we do is we just take them out by the handful and throw them in a sauce, throw them in a soup.
Right.
You're not going to eat them fresh, obviously,
yeah.
but they're great to add to any kind of cooking that you're doing.
Yeah.
So some of the ways to take care of your basil, including pinching off the flowers, making sure you don't get the flowers. By this time of year, I'm kind of a little lenient about it. So, there's some of them forming. But what that does is send more energy into the leaves and less into flower production.
Yeah.
And then when you're actually harvesting the basil, don't just harvest the individual leaves off the top, because what that does is creates new leaves that are really small. So you want to go down the stem and look for where there's some side branching and cut right above that. So what happens is you get new branches forming as opposed to just new leaves, and those branches will have bigger leaves on them.
Sorry, I pulled this off the top.
You can keep that one. That's okay. You can also use basil for other things. For example, it wards off tomato hornworms.
Oh, really?
You know, the ones that chew off top of the plants over there. You put some basil plants around the base of your tomato plant, the Genovese, the big ones, and that smell masks the smell of the tomatoes, so the moth that lays the egg never finds your tomatoes to create the worms.
Interesting.
So that works too. But when you're making pesto out of them, the recipe we like to do, and you can have a little sample too, is the basil, of course, but we put some parsley in it, because sometimes basil can have kind of a little bitter flavor to it.
Sure.
So the parsley mellows it out a little bit. There's garlic in there, there's olive oil in there, salt and pepper, of course, and some nuts like walnuts we use. Pine nuts are a little expensive. And of course, there's a little Parmesan cheese, which helps with everything.
Yum. Yes.
And we freeze jars of that for the winter. The other thing you could do is freeze it. And when you're freezing it, there's all these recipes about blanching it and freezing it. We don't do any of that stuff. We just wash them, let them dry, put them on a cookie sheet, put them in the freezer, pull them out the next morning, and just put them in bags, freezer bags.
Okay.
And that way we can use them all winter for cooking.
Sure.
So there's lots of different ways to use basil, have it in the garden, and enjoy it. But enjoy it now, because once it gets cold, it's gone.
It's gone.